Well, I don't, not sure if I shared with you, Erica. The team may not have got the stuff to you. I've actually come full circle back around into my core genius zone of working with businesses on building culture, and specifically because I believe happiness is the greatest hack to productivity and profitability. And it's our responsibility as business owners to create a ripple effect of lowering stress, anxiety, and depression, and creating a place that everyone wants to get up in the morning and come be a part of, rather than wake up in the morning, want to pull the covers over their head and wish that they didn't exist anymore. So I love all the things you said there about flow. We've come from a similar school of thought with the profiling of people and understanding character traits. And just because someone loves structure and rules and things like that, that does, and they're the opposite to us, that doesn't make them weird and wrong. And same with them looking at us, if we're a bit out there and high energy and can't do the structure and a bit more think on our feet, that freaks them out. Understanding that the world needs all types. Can you drop in a little bit more for me on, I want to just go a bit deeper on creating company culture, understanding that every business does need a different culture. How do you help people figure out what to do with their culture, and what does culture mean to you?
Well, I'll give you two different answers. One is the very, very easy answer, and that is that I have a general rule, and the rule is this: however I want the client to be treated, however I want the client to be taken care of, is how the frontline staff have to be treated. And however I want the frontline staff to be treated is how their direct report managers need to be treated. And that just keeps going up, right? So in essence, what that means is that, however you treat the people, if you're the owner, however you treat the people that are directly reporting to you is how they're going to treat the next batch of people. And at the end, that's all going to filter down to the client experience. And it's funny.
Waterfall effect, right?
Yeah, exactly. I was having a real difficulty with my cell phone provider in England many years ago. And I don't know how it's there these days, but back then it was like, once they got you on a contract, it was like you were never getting out. Didn't matter how bad the service was, you were never getting out. You're paying your dues. In my case, they had been so terrible that I got with the supervisor, and the supervisor said, "You're right. We're going to let you out of your contract. We've been so bad to you. We're going to let you out. I've made a note in your file. You just need to call this number and they'll do it." So I call the number, and the woman answers the phone like this: "Hello, retentions department." And I'm like, holy crap. Like, she announces that it's the retentions department. First of all, how to get the clients back up, right? You've been told you can cancel. So I said to her, "Hi, I know you have a script and you want to follow that script because your job is to try to stop me from canceling. But I want to shortcut us both a huge amount of time. I've spoken with the supervisor. The supervisor has given me permission to get out, and they've made a note in my file. So all I'm asking you to do right now is process the cancellation." And she stops, she reads the file, and she's just devastated. Like, she's pissed off. And here's the deal: her remuneration is based on retention. So here she's going to have to hold a whole call where there's no chance, right? No chance of making money. And so she's mean to me and she's rude, and it's all going horrible. Now, check this out. At one point, I can't handle this anymore. I don't want to be treated like this. And I started thinking to myself, poor woman, she got on this call. This is her chat. It's a sales call for her, right? And I've told her I'm not buying it, but yet she still has to spend the next half hour with me, all right. So I go, "I am so sorry." And she's like, "I'm sorry, what?" And I said, I'm really sorry. And she goes, "Why?" And I go, I do a lot of customer service consulting and training. And in my experience, however the clients are being treated is how the staff is being treated internally. And honestly, based on the way you're treating me, they must treat you like shit. It's like, I fully expected her to hang up on me at that point, because that company has a policy of hanging up the minute you use profanity. Don't ask me how I know that policy. I'm just saying they have that policy. But she didn't hang up on me. She immediately went, "You're right. They treat us terribly here." And she said, "And I am sorry that I let that get through to you." She goes, "I am so sorry. What did we do to you anyway that made this so bad?" So she started, I started telling her what happened. And she goes, "What network are you going to?" And I said, "Well, I'm just heartbroken. You guys have just released the first ever color Palm device. Like, this is long before iPhones and stuff, right? And I wanted to get it from your network. And it's the only network you can buy them from. So I'm going to go get this other device over there. And she goes, those things are expensive. I go, I know, they're like 1,200 pounds. She goes, I can give you one. I said, what? She goes, look, we have a whole budget range that we're supposed to use to try to get people to stay with the account. And my budget goes all the way up to giving you one of those. So instead of giving you 50 and then 70 and then 80, I can just give you one of those. It's 1,200. I go, what? She goes, I go, no. Because I know that if you give it to me, it's going to lock me back in for 2 years. And she goes, you're right, but I can just put a note that you're exempted from that. So she sends me a 1,200 pound phone, makes a note that I canceled. 3 months later,
the service. In the day, if it's a palm phone, 1,200 pound is like $10,000.
Yeah, we're talking $5,000 in today's money, right? We're talking way beyond what an iPhone would cost. But anyway, she does all this, sends me the brand phone. 3 months later, the service is still terrible. And I end up canceling, but I get to keep the phone. Now, here's the thing, though. She demonstrated to us culture. She was being treated badly, constantly being quoted chapter and verse regulations, being beaten up when she didn't achieve targets and so on. And so she was doing the same thing to clients. That's my first rule. Then the second rule is, and this is a little bit more tongue in cheek, but culture. Do you know what the abbreviation of culture is? Cult. So if you want to understand how to build a culture, all you have to do is kind of examine the core rules of building a cult. And you're not really allowed to say this in public because the word cult has this like, oh, it's an evil cult and they're going to drink Kool-Aid. No, it's just short for culture. And so what are some of the key things that cause a great culture? Well, one of the things is common mission and purpose. So for example, at WildFit, our people know we are here to massively improve the quality of billions of people's lives on Earth. And that is a common purpose. So we're all aligned. And I
would say that people do think that WildFit is kind of cult-like. My dad's like, you're in a cult. And I'm like, I'm happily in this cult, Dad. Like, we are not eating white bread in this house.
But again, what part of what's going on there is, there's language, right? Language makes a cult, that there's common language and that kind of stuff. So when you get these things right, what ends up happening is people start feeling like they belong. That's the thing. They start feeling like they belong. And I think that what we really want to do as business owners is, first of all, figure out what the belonging culture is for our core staff. Then what is the belonging culture for our tribe, for our clients and prospects and members and that kind of stuff. And if you can nail that, everything changes.